Alright, Chapter 4. Magnetic tape recorder transport lineage of the if you complete the chapter, you'll be able to do the following. Describe the function of the basic of the tape, the transporting system, describe the operating characters, the part of the free most common tape link system, describe the physical base tape, reeling configuration, co-planar, co-axle, describe the character, the open loop drive, closed loop drive, tape transport configuration, three most common closed loop designs, describe the cap stand, speed control of the tape transporting system, the relationship with the stick part of the tape, and tape typical cap stand control. You can explain why and describe how the magnetic tape transport must be introduction. Magnetic tape, the core of the transport precisely built. Some of them that move the magnetic tape, the crowd magnetic head, have the whole protected tape for one ship of the basic tape, but tape and some of the tape that transports have four basic parts. Supply side, magnetic heads feature out with the tape upside, and the tape reeling system that is able to move the tape of the crowd. The magnetic heads to be controlled from the control of the movement of the magnetic tape. Electrons submit the activate reeling device, remove the magnetic tape for basic closure, hold the protective of the cartridge. The magnetic tape charger, the base parts of that tells how they work, and I show the diagram of the more common ones. Reeling system, basic magnetic recording tape reeling system has almost on a slide reel, one tape reel with the job of move the magnetic tape from one reel to the other. Would have the fourth inch of supply reel to the magnetic tape with the constant attention of the tape. That's the magnetic head of the line tape with the reels, except for the magnetic late tape. Constant tension both supply and the reel start with the maintain proper tape ascension. Three things must the magnetic tape really damage the three most common tape the reeling system take with control of the take motor, two motor reeling, and and tape buffering. Take up control reeling system. This is the motor take the reel to drop the magnetic tape off the free spool with the supply reel to maintain the tape the drag with the supply reel, but it might cause the disadvantage only with the only and tapes and does not remain constant throughout the reel supply reel. Reel give it the type of the give it out the tape and the tape retention vary the uneven tip of the construct the type of a poorly wound tape reel typical damage starts up. Two motoring reeling system to overcome the problem to take with the control reeling system and designers to add the motor to slide the reel by using the two motors magnetic tape. The direction can be forward and reverse the two motor reel configuration. Use the DC current motor that's the AC alternating current motors. They cut the DC motors run smooth and easier with the control that help control the tape tension as the whole back voltage to have the motor with the slide reel. Unfortunately, two motor reeling systems not properly control the tape tension start and stop. Sometimes all tape buffering must be added. Tape buffering reelings control record the tape tension during step and start stop. They come the tape without occurs overcome the problem of regulating the tape reel speed with protecting against the change of tape tension. Every manufacturer high quality performance magnetic tape records use some sort of the tape buffering, especially important with the magnetic records that operate in the many different speeds. When precise tape tension must be maintained. Figure 4 to show the relationship between the tape reeling system and the tape buffering. As you can see with the speed with the tape the reel give up the tape magnet and is controlled as relative to the speed with the call of the servo feedback with the supply tape up the buffer take up the servo speed with the slow down. Show the tape the direction so the supply buffer the speed control servo the supply motor take up buffer take up speed control servo take up motor. There are two basic types of the reeling system buffer for the spring tension vacuum column. The spring tension buffer system, the electromechanical device sends for the chain of the tape, the tension, chain of the feedback with the speed control servo, the need to adjust the speed with the tape, the reel, the figure 4, 3, and 4, 4, two more common arrangement spring tension buffers. Reel motor, servo control, electro sensors, mechanical arm spring with roller, assembly, magnetic tape, the tape reel, and also the reel, servo control, electronic sensor of the tape reel, the spring pivot, and roller assembly, spring, and the magnetic tape. A vacuum column of rubber buffering system operates like a spring tension system. Although regulates speed control servo with the control tape, the speed reel, but shown figure 4 or 5 with the vacuum column buffer system, the vacuum chamber, so for the spring to hold the length of the magnetic tape that is slack during the tape of the recorder start and stop the electronics into the vacuum chamber that helps to control the how much tape is the buffer. Reel motor and servo control of the column sets for the vacuum pump of the photo cell with the light source of the magnetic tape. Guys, another job of the tape reeling system to make sure the magnetic tape is protected from damage but during operation to do this the reeling system. The tape guides continue in two designs, fixed and rotary. Both of the shown figure 4 6 with each for the tape guide is shown the drawback. Fixed tape given the product with a lot more friction than rotary tape to give the guides are more likely to cover the errors because of the move of the tape. The tape guide, tape direction, tape transport, mounting surface, the bearing assembly, rotating tape guide, tape direction, tape transport, mounting surface. Tape guides are strategically placed in tape reeling systems to make sure the magnetic tape is kept with the tape with respect with the supply. Take up a reel's magnetic head. Some of the magnetic record you the only fixed tape guide with the rotary tape guide with some of them a combination of the two. Tape reeling configurations. There are two basic tape reeling configuration coplanar coaxial. Both of them describe the physical relationship with the supply reel and take up reel. The coplanar is in most often called more often than the coaxial have as the supply reel, but take up the reel side by side. Figure 4-7 show the configuration reeling motor, the guide point, the tension sensor of the reeling motor, the coaxial configuration, even the physical side of the limit, the places the supply and take up of the reel to the tail of each of the figure 4-8 show the configuration. So for the guide, the tension of the guide, tension guide, supply of the wheel with the size of the reduce for illustration, take up reel. Tape transport configuration. The two types of the tape transport configuration: open loop with the constant capstan drive, the closed loop capstan drive. The following paragraph describes each of these. Open loop capstan drive. The problem: the simple of the tray of the configuration. Figure 4-9 show the magnetic tape that's pulled off the supply reel, taken across the magnetic heads, wound with the take of the reel with the tape that's pulled with the sandwich hanging between the single capstan with a pinch roll with the capstan turned through the friction between the pinch and roll poles with the tape with the cross with the magnetic head. The magnetic tape to help again for the magnetic heads and use the tape guides. Show the tape from the supply reel with the magnetic heads. The pinch can roll with the tape of the take over the reel with the guide and the capstan. The open loop with the drive with the transport configuration. Two major drawbacks: it can only work with one direction. Pull with the tape that can push over the cross with the magnetic heads. Tape tension head to tape the contact vary with the capstan. Motor head state speed up with the tape of the tension will vary. Closed loop capstan drive. Your closed loop capstan drive transport the design with the overcome the drawback of the open loop drive and design with the move with one capstan pinch roll with the claim with the magnetic tape into the around with the magnetic head to keep the tension with the constant and improve the quality of the recording and playback. Figure 4 tension of the basic arrangement of the closed capstan drive. The pinch roll of the capstan magnetic head with the pinch roller capstan magnetic hand turn around roller magnetic heads capstan pinch roller. The three most common closed loop capstan drive with the design differential velocity capstan dual motor dual capstan per field drive capstans. Differential velocity capstan figure 411 show with the differential velocity capstan is designed with the take up of the capstan is made with a little larger than the supply capstan with the cover the take up with the concept with the pull away the take up away with the head with the slightly faster than the supply capstan with the take with the feeds head tape up the heads. The result of the constant tape tension is around the magnetic head take with the constant X supply capstan Y. To supply take it up capstan supply capstan X's capstan pulleys drive pulley capstan motor. Both of those capstans are with a single motor with a couple with a capstan pulley of the belt with a range in the velocity of one direction. Unfortunately, the different velocity capstan does not work in the reverse tape direction. Negative tension would occur with the tape with a bunch of the area around the magnetic heads. Dual motor tail capstan figure 412 is the dual motor dual capstan and design that each of the capstans within its own motor for the tape tension maintain the slowing down of one of the motors when reverse tape motion is needed. The opposite motor is slowed down. Capstan motor 1, motor 2. Peripheral drive capstans. In the design of the magnetic tape, the room with the capstan plate directly against the tape reel. The tape pack with figure 413 for the differential peripheral drive capstan arrangement. First arrangement figure 413A show the single capstan design method. The two tightly wound tape reels without flinges push against the capstan. Capstan turns and forth the tape. The reel to turn in the appropriate direction. Magnetic tape tension is maintained either by spring loading or servo control. Supply capstan take up pack of the magnetic tape. The second arrangement figure 413B with the two capstan and the method the two tightly wound tape reel without flinges placed directly against the capstan tension the magnetic head area with the maintain control speed of the individual capstans. Supply pack capstan magnetic head capstans take up reel with the capstan speed control. Capstan speed control is important with the magnetic tape transportation system. The capstan determine the right speed with the constant speed. The important pick up of the air with the speed control cover the recordings and playback constant capstan to turn either with the motor only with the motor or by motor belt or pulley arrangement, and either the cover of the motor capstan speed control function acts upon to do the job of the capstan speed control function. Typically controls consist of 6 basic parts. Figure 414 show the 6 parts they have they related to each part of the described. Precision for frequency sort of the selected speed network comparison network speed correction circuit with the capstan motor driven circuitry positive negative speed minor speed control circuitry. Precise frequency sort of the source of this part with the capstan control with the reference of the frequency and speed going to select network with the comparison network to drive the capstan and the precision frequency source of the usually with a very high frequency crystals accuracy at least 1,000% speed selecting network. The network select the desired operating tape speed to take the reference frequency from the precision frequency source depending on the desired operating tape speed generates another specific reference with the comparison network the control speed capstan figure 4 table 4 1 to live for the speed with the control reference small frequency varies small operating tape speeds and show the operating tape speed in inches per second speed of the control and frequency in kilohertz capstan speed monitoring the circuit monitoring with the true capstan monitoring the percentage of the true speed with the comparison network the circuit with the capstan speed monitor circuit that made with the photo optical tachometer directly attached to the shaft of the capstan motor Figure 415 shows the light source, the optical disc motor shaft of the photo cell with the speed signal comparison. Um, your comparison network, the network table, the input signal with the speed select with the network capsule speed mode with the compare with the two signals to the side with the capsule with the rate speed with the not tell with the speed with the correction network circuit. Sometimes the third input signal which can go with the magnetic tape the supply with the comparison with the also code the server the control with the tape signal with the tape with the recordings made with the specific recording. Sometimes the stripped off with the further analysis playback with a different over the tail with the concept with the speed with the tape with the transport if the two record with the precision reference frequency the operating record with the recorder on the track with the magnetic tape during the playback with the reference with the fed but the recorder's comparison that with the U with the correct the speed error speed correction circuit the circuit that takes the speed correction signal the comparison network the tail with the capstone motor with the drive circuit with the E with the speed with the slow down with the capstone motor drive circuit with the circuit that takes the speed slows down the signal the speed correction circuit with the actually speed up to the slow down the capstone motor. All right, figure for magnetic tape transportation maintenance. If you want good recording and playback, I'm going to say keep magnetic tape of the transport clean, but demagnetize all paragraphs to the preventive maintenance procedure for the magnetic tape transportation system. Magnetic tape transporting transport cleaning. You clean with the magnetic tape transport with the isol, alcohol, cotton swabs, lint free. The cloth with caution, cotton swabs are not lint free, so the only place that you can get them and the lint free, you can't get to with the lint free cloths. So the technical cleaning with the capstone. Here are some of the other parts points to remember. So the supply capstone with the cleaning of the capstone magnetic transportation. You always remove the magnetic tape with the transport with the fork cleaning. Do not apply with the cleaning with the lint free cloth with the cotton swab. Do not apply with directly on the tape transport. Do pay extra attention for the flange part with the tape guides if the oxide part collect the most. Do you the most same lint free cloth with the cotton swab to clean most of the part of the tape transport. So the cloth with the swabs are often if you don't, they may transfer the oxide particle from one part of the tape to transfer to another. Magnetic tape demagnetizing. With you the tape of the transport becomes demagnetized. It's hard to actually with what happens to the magnetic tape with the magnet. It's part of the tape of the transport before the tape is recorded. The effect with the can range from a little more than knowing that the tape with the complete with the tape transportation saturation. Either way, magnetized with the large tape transport parts of the ruin the magnetic recordings. Prevent the UV the periodically demagnetizing tape transport. You procedurally for doing this identical list in the chapter 2 the demagnetizing magnetic heads. You even you with the same manual head decals or you saw in the figure 218 chapter 2 figure 28 chapter 2 the figure 417 show the technical demagnetizing tape guide. Typical guide assembly. Chapter 4 summary.